Hey guys, welcome back. It's Dave again here in Dave's Dimension. So, I'm doing another video today. This one's going to be a little short one. Well, we'll see. Now, if you know me, you know I have big love for Ghostbusters. But another love I have is of Back to the Future. Now, even as a kid, I'm 41. So, I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 78. So, I was a kid, but I remember watching Back to the Future. I remember wishing that I was Marty McFly, going on an adventure through time and doing whatever I could to make it back. I mean, I thought the DeLorean with the gull-wing doors was awesome. The fact he's playing, he was just a regular kid, regular teen, just trying to get by. Things at home weren't that great. Nothing ever seemed to go right for him. I could associate with that, you know? I was that kid. Things were always going wrong. But that's why when I was growing up, I loved Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Another, regular person who had faults, couldn't always get things done the right way. Things were being just barely held together, so I associated with that. Now, Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox has always been one of my favorite actors. Doc Hollywood, The Frighteners, I mean, you just name it. Anything that he's done, Secret of My Success, For Love or Money, I mean, Bright Lights, Big City, I mean, Family Ties. I mean, he's, anything that he's ever done, I somehow could associate with him. And, I have tons of respect for the guy as an actor. I mean, for what he's been facing for years. Parkinson's, and he's still out there in the public. He's still struggling, and he's doing whatever he can. You gotta respect someone like that. But, I mean, Marty McFly, to have a crazy friend as a scientist, and then to go back in time, and then suddenly, because you fumble into things without meaning to, and you finally do get a way back home, well, suddenly all those mistakes, all those fumblings that you did, completely made everything 1,000 times better. It's amazing. Not to mention all the special effects, the car and the trail of fire. I mean, come on. Who doesn't love that? I mean, I myself, like I said, I'm a big Back to the Future fan. If you're ever watched any of my videos, my channel, you know that I have a proton pack that I modded to be a Back to the Future theme. Little Mr. Fusion right there. I got a flux capacitor at the top. That's one of my pride and joys. I love that pack. Because long story short, I decided I was going to try to do a cosplay. I was going to go to a Comic-Con. I had only been to one before this. And I said, well, they're going to have Christopher Lloyd, Niagara Falls Comic-Con. So I said, you know what? They're going to have Christopher Lloyd, but also it was the 35th anniversary of Ghostbusters as well. So I said, well, what would happen? Because, as I said, I grew up in the 80s. I was a teenager in the 90s. I remember in the 90s, we used to have a lot of websites with fan fictions. We call them fanfics, okay? They're still out there. But I remember reading one about Ray Stantz working in the private sector with Dr. Emmett L. Brown. So I said, well, what would happen if maybe Ray and Doc were working together? In that break of 5 years between Ghostbusters 1 and 2, what if Ray was actually working in the private sector? He was working with Doc. I mean, think about it. Ghostbusters was 1984. Back to the Future is 1985, so it's within the realm of possibility. So I threw that thing together, and I mean, it what I originally planned, it took off and turned into something amazing. And I did meet Christopher Lloyd, posed with him right in front of a DeLorean, and it was awesome. I mean, I got to be with the Doc and actually talk to him for a second. For a Back to the Future fan, you can't get any better. Well, meaning Michael J. Fox. That's the next step up. I mean, I have a die-cast. This is actually a Sunstar DeLorean. My brother actually gifted me a couple years ago. It's been through the ringer a little bit. This thing's been bounced around and beat up, a few broken, cracked pieces here and there. But it even goes into the part 2 mode. I love this thing. This is one of my favorites. This is probably one of my the favorite pieces I collected. It's got the hood. It's got Mr. Fusion on the back. I have that. I also, now when I did the Back to the Future Flux Pack, I also had an ID badge made up David McFly, since my name is Dave. So, and Marty had a brother named David. So, and I got this logo. This logo now this logo I do not have the design rights for it. Found this online, and I got the image capture, and I even came across someone who did a patch in the Ghostbuster patch and pins group, and I ordered a couple of these because you can never have too many patches. I had a rubber one that I got on Etsy. Very cool, very heavy duty, but I wanted a fabric patch, so I got a couple of these. Fluxbuster, you gotta love it. Now, in addition to that, this past summer I should say, Playmobil took it a step up. Playmobil, they've done like the Ghostbuster Ectos, which I have both Ecto 1 and 1A, but they decided to do a DeLorean. And I have that. This DeLorean has Doc, Marty. Also came with Einstein, his dog. The case where they have the plutonium capsules, the plutonium pellets in there. And came up with a little JVC camera. Nice little additions. Now this just has the peg that comes right out. Also has the antenna that comes out. Now with this, let me just give you guys a quick little demonstration. Even has a flux capacitor inside that lights up. So it gives a nice little illusion of a time traveling. Now, if you're like me and you got this, you might want to hit up Etsy. There's been a few people who've been making some additions. There's one guy who came up with a peg just like this, except it's Mr. Fusion, so you can make your car look like part 2. Also, by the way, these wheels, they can rotate. So you can do a hover mode, and which would be even better with the Mr. Fusion. And the same guy has also come up with some attachments, some clothes for the figures, but he also has the Time Circuit edition from part 3, when Marty goes back to the Old West to get Doc. So, I am a Back to the Future fanatic. I do have a few Funkos. Now, I have one Doc Funko, which is the Doc from 55 when he's plugging into the battery, when he's about to show Marty the demonstration. Well, I got something new today. Now this year they're coming up with a lot of new stuff for Back to the Future's 35th anniversary. There's a Gigatron or Giga something, a Transformers crossover. In my opinion, it's not terribly done right. It looks kind of clunky, kind of just, they could have done so much better, Hasbro. I doubt anyone in Hasbro will ever see this video, but if you ever do, I mean, it kind of looks like it's phoned in. It looks like he took Sideswipe, or, I mean, you could have done so much better with the body, I think. Going back several years ago, Loot Crate did a Back to the Future crate. And they did a shirt, it was like Marty Prime or something like that, where it was a Transformer done to look like Marty McFly as an Autobot. It had like an orange vest. I mean, that thing looked amazing. If they could have done a Transformer DeLorean like that, they would have killed it. I'm still going to hit up IDW for the comic book in October when it comes out, which also happens to be my birthday month. So I'm looking forward to it. NECA, NECA, if you're not familiar with them, they do some awesome figures. They do a lot of stuff, like Freddy Krueger, a lot of movie stuff, Chucky, Pennywise, but they've also done some movie accurate Ninja Turtles. I mean, these guys are just amazing. They stand on their own. I mean, this looks perfectly like the 1990 Turtles. I have Raph, I have Leo. I don't have the full set. I did recently do a video for the Casey Jones and Raphael in Disguise. So you may want to check that video out just to see a sampling of what they actually include. I mean, these guys are fully posable. If you've ever seen the 90s movie, I mean, this is just top notch. Okay? Now, this kind of detail that they throw here, and these bandana backs can actually come off, so you can actually do different poses. These guys are tremendously posable, and they stand without a stand. Now, NECA does make a line of stands. I've actually used these on both Hasbro Power Ranger collection figures, and on Hasbro Ghostbusters Plasma figures collection. So those are awesome. Now, they're actually coming out with some Back to the Future figures this year. This month, I think sometime in August, they're supposed to be dropping the Marty McFly from part 1, where he's got his vest, his denim coats. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for it because I ordered it. Couldn't resist. This is going to have a couple different accessories with it. I'm going to be doing an unboxing video for that. September, they got Back to the Future 2 Marty with the Power Laces sneakers and the adjustable jacket. With the hoverboard, I'm going to have to get that too. November, they got Doc from 1955 in there, and I think they're also doing Doc from the future. They're also going to be releasing some cartoon ones, because CBS did in the 90s a Back to the Future cartoon. It was kind of short-lived, but it was pretty awesome. And they're going to be releasing those. Now, today's video is I got a new Funko in. This is a new one that just recently came out. I picked this one up at Walmart. They had it on sale for $24.99. I've seen a bunch of places that had it for $29.99. And a bunch of people, of course, the scalpers and whatnots on eBay are going through the roof on this. This is Clocktower. This is Doc with the Clocktower. Now, as you can see, we're going to go down. We're going to break it down here. Funko. Back to the Future branding on here. There we go. Doc with the Clocktower. Now in the back, you can see the Clocktower with Doc. And you can also see some of the new figures they got coming out this year. Future Doc, Future Marty. A couple different variations of Marty. Biff, Doc from the 50s. So, this is my first one of this current collection. And yes, I am going to be opening it up, because I'm not one of those people who saves the boxes or keeps everything in a box. I'm one of those people that if you're going to get a toy or figure, it's got to breathe. Now, it comes pretty securely packaged. No tape or anything. So we're just going to lift this off. And very much like they've done with the Ghostbuster Pops, they have a nice little plastic, almost feels like a gel-like effect here. Okay. So here is, now what I like is they didn't just do like a flat back on it. They made it look fully three-dimensional. So if you wanted to do a little play set, so to speak, you can, it's a fully functional, oh, I shouldn't say functional, but fully full out building here. And some of the details here, I mean, you can see the vents of the door where Doc climbs out on. The clock itself, 10:04, that's when the lightning bolt strikes. Now, this is a little, that's one thing I didn't like. This is part of the weather vane. This arrow is cracked, actually. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm going to probably dab it with a little bit of glue to fix that. So please be careful. QC, this is just mine. That's got that little defect too, so hopefully yours will not. But when taking it out, I would just be careful. A little bit of glue, probably a little dab of super glue right on the back part, so nobody can see it. Is probably going to be the best fix, guys. But I mean, everything else here, it is a little weird that this one light pole is kind of bent, probably because they had to stretch this out. Yeah, I'm not going to try and bend that out because I don't want to crack the bottom off to damage this even further. But I mean, for a nice display piece, unless people are going to really pick it up and take a look at it, you should be perfectly fine. Now, one thing on the weather vane is you can see here, but no arrow, no back of the arrow going back here. But that's not a problem. Now let's take a look at Doc. This is Doc in 1955 with his gloves on as he's trying to attach the wire, the cables together so that the lightning bolt will carry the necessary 1.21 gigawatts down to the DeLorean as the DeLorean hits the street lights with that hook and cabling. I mean, he's got the little cut from hanging his clock while he was upside down in his bathroom. I mean, the detail on here is, this is pretty top notch here. Definitely one of my new Funko favorites here. So what do you guys think? Funko Doc with the clock tower. What do you think about the clock tower? Please let me know in the comment section below. If your clock tower came in a little defective, please leave some comments below. If it didn't, leave some comments below. Tell me what you think about this. And are there any things, maybe you have a suggestion. What would you like to see Funko do next? I mean, Funko's done everything from the Umbrella Academy to Back to the Future, obviously. They've done Batman, DC Comics, Marvel, I mean, you name it. Anything that's out there. I mean, even politicians are being made into Funkos now. So what are your thoughts? You know, one thing I haven't seen yet is a Ninja Turtle Funko, but maybe that's just me. Maybe I haven't seen it. So if you like this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and come back for some more videos. So until next time, as if I can find my remote. Until next time, this is Dave from Dave's Dimension saying keep on busting, and I'll catch you on the flip side.